fun meeting you.
Jeez.
I'm Jason.
What's the weather like up there?
It's a little bit colder, a little less oxygen.
I'm very pleased to meet you.
Yes,
Jason.
yes. Fortunately, there's not very many games here to look at, but I do have mine set up.
Yeah, let's look at it.
Which is the weird two-player game about consciousness and isolation.
Yeah, that's the one I couldn't look at earlier. So.
Right, it requires two players, and we're not supposed to look at each other's screens.
Yeah.
And our interaction with each other is very indirect.
Okay.
So we can touch any key to begin, and then if you hit the space bar, you can create blocks and add them to the world.
Okay.
And then if you walk around a little bit to the far left and far right, there's some other things that are explained, two other actions that you can do.
I love the retro graphics. It's so...
There's a whole school of us kind of doing this kind of stuff now. I guess part of it is to take the focus off of the graphics and to make people say, well, I'm not here for the visual spectacle. Yeah. What am I here for? I'm here to think about what I'm doing and why the designer created this particular set of interactions and what they might mean, you know. And there's this little keyboard hints about two other actions you can take. Sleeping and waking up.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So there's a bit of confusion in this game about which of these things is actually the real world. We don't really know.
Oh, okay.
I like the idea of a rule book that just explains everything and then the expression is in the emergence.
There is...
I mean, because your games used to have these big, thick rule books, right?
Yes, yes.
Or explanations of how to play.
Yeah.
You don't sit down to balance of power and just play.
Yeah, yeah. And in fact, that's one of the killer problems. In the old days, we were so limited that there really was a choice, a simple trade-off between if you want richness, you got to have a big manual.
Right.
And if you want to have a small manual, you got to keep it simple. And that's one of the things that's really interesting about your stuff, is that you got the richness without the manual.
It's a very sort of narrow channel that I'm exploring, right? It doesn't have all sorts of, it doesn't have the sort of complexity and multifaceted, it's like one facet. Like Passage, for example, explores essentially one idea, which is one little nuanced feeling of coming face to face with your own mortality. Passage is also a game about realizations. And the realization, it seems obvious. Oh, there's the spouse. I wonder what she does. Oh, it's pretty. I picked up this heart. You know, this heart blooms around you. And wasn't that lovely? But then you have this realization about what the trade-off was. Oh, I can't get down in the maze anymore quite as easily. Yeah. And so I don't want to just put that in the manual.
What is, I think, most important about your approach is that you're taking the idea of spatial navigation, which has always been done too damned literally.
Right.
And suddenly turning it into metaphor.
Right.
And then exploring, well, what kind of metaphors can be created with spatial systems.